So we get back to this question of what exactly are they doing? I mean, they know all this stuff. They're really advanced. They want to help. They're good guys. What are they doing? Of course, we heard that they did a lot of work back in the 50s and 60s to kind of clean up our atmosphere and bring lots of energy in. And they're still doing some of that. What they do 4 times or 5 times a year is they bring a satellite into orbit, again, an invisible orbit, a higher, well, it's invisible for other reasons in this case. And what they do during these, what they call magnetization orbits, is they flood the area below the ionosphere with spiritual energy, virtually. But they do it in a very clever way. They send it directly to anyone and everyone who is doing good things, who is going the right way spiritually, shall we say. Help somebody out, do your spiritual practices, do some mantra, do a prayer, join Doctors Without Borders, anything that's helping others is going to be multiplied, the effects of it, 3,000 times. That much energy is going there. And what that will do is that's going to quicken the karma, right? Because each time you do something good, you get that reaction. And so if what you're doing good is multiplied 3,000 times, you're going to get a reaction, a bigger reaction in the plus. And yet, because the ionosphere is still intact, the generic energy, shall we say, from the sun that can be used for bad purposes, that's not magnified. So this is one way that they're helping 4 or 5 times every year. And the dates are on our website if you want to get those dates. And you can really feel the difference if you do a certain set of practices before and after the spiritual push starts. You can really feel it. It's not so apparent at the end of the spiritual push because there's so much energy that's in the area that it kind of tapers off slowly. But it starts with a pretty good bang. They've also given us 19 holy mountains, which Dr. King had to climb 18 of these as a karmic manipulation to allow them to be made holy. Holy in as much as they're charged with very powerful energy, which is specially designed to be easy to contact. And fortunately in Los Angeles, we're lucky to have one about an hour and a half away, and that's Mount Baldy. And we go there 5 times a year. So if you want to come along and experience Mount Baldy, then come on with us. And we normally have about 30, 40 people. When we go, people that haven't been there before, it's kind of fun because they're always amazed at how much energy flows through them. And I think last year one person went, and she felt she was quite adept at energy. And so I always tell people, be careful, it's a lot of energy. If you feel like sitting down, then feel free to sit down and step out of the circle. And they always say, oh, yeah. And but invariably, they always step out and sit down on the second or third circle of prayers. There's a lot of energy if you aren't used to it. They've also given us these amazing texts called the 12 Blessings. And this was given by the Master Jesus, again, telepathically. And this is the 50th anniversary of both the Operation Starlight, which charged these mountains, and the 12 Blessings. And the 12 Blessings, it's in this very small book, it gives tremendous knowledge as far as the cosmic concept or the spirituality of the universe, because it talks about the Mother Earth, the mighty sun, the galaxy, the lords of karma, the great lords of creation. It talks about these great, great beings, but in a very short, succinct way, and in a way that you're actually giving them a blessing, giving them thanks. Now think about that. Remember the law of karma. And remember during the spiritual push, if you send a blessing to the sun, what has to happen? The energy from the sun has to come back to you and has to help you. And then after most of these blessings, you also send a prayer of upliftment to mankind. So you're trying to help mankind. And the interesting thing about 2012 is that these 12 blessings, we were told, way back in 1958, we were told that they were given 52 years ahead of their time. In other words, they were originally designed, it was originally planned to be given in 2010, which interestingly enough is just 2 years before 2012. So it's, it's interesting. They didn't give us all the answers to everything. They give you little bits here and there, so you've got to figure it out. And so this is one interesting clue that they gave to us. Now again, what to do? And of course, it's also important to note that we're in a transition period, right? And in transition periods, your actions mean more than outside of a transition period. And a good example, and it's nice to be giving this lecture here where people know about baseball. I gave it down in New Zealand and it was more difficult, this particular analogy. Because if you're a baseball player and you're in a baseball game in, say, June, middle of the season, and it's maybe the fifth inning, your team's ahead 8-1, nobody on base, 2 outs, you get up, you hit a home run. It's nice, but it's not a really big deal, right? Doesn't mean a lot. Home run. Now you're up 9-1. So what? But if it happens in the World Series, and let's add to the possibilities, and let's just say it's the Cubs, the Chicago Cubs, in the World Series. Haven't won for 100 years. It's the last game, 7th game. They're up, say, it was tied, 1-1, bottom of the 9th. Guy gets up, hits a home run. Now that's a big difference. That's a transition time. Same act of hitting a run over the field, but it's a transition period. Means a lot more. And we're in a transition period now. And so your actions mean a lot more. And so think through whether or not you want to sit at home and watch 3 hours of TV, which you can do, or spend some of that time praying for the world, doing breathing exercises, doing some mantra, helping somebody. And this is a short minute-and-a-half transmission. This is, again, given by that same entity, Master Aetherius, and here he tells you very, very directly what it is we're supposed to do.
How can you do this? I will repeat myself for your benefit. By being of service to others, and by being of service to others at this holy time, bringing down the great energy and power from satellite number 3, down through you, out unto your suffering brother, to suffering, downtrodden humanity, and helping to raise them. This is the great key, the great yoga, the great practice, the great Christianity, the great religion, the greatest deeds that you can do in these days. Service, service, service is the key which will open the doors to all the powers, to all forms of enlightenment. Service to others. 1,000 years ago, it was meditation in the silence. Today it is service in the noise, service in the clatter, service in the foulness, in the smell, in the ignorance of mankind. Use the great powers, my dear friends. I appeal to you. And then all the things of nature will be given unto you.